Hey, welcome everyone. Hey, thanks for joining us. We are here. I've got a special guest, Miss Kathy McConnell, in the studio with us today. So Russell and I have known Kathy for some time, and so Russell, in fact, I'll tell a little bit about how I've known Kathy. But how did y'all meet?
Miss Kathy a couple of years ago. I was volunteering up there at the Pulaski County Jail, and I sat in one of her classes.
What was she teaching?
She was teaching a curriculum at the time that I didn't know nothing about, but later I figured out it was getting out while getting ahead.
Yeah.
Getting ahead while
getting out.
It's all right.
He didn't pass that class, did he?
He's going to have to retake it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I met her, man. She was well put together. Not only that, but you could tell like she was teaching and trying to reach these people out of real love and concern for not necessarily them, but like their soul and, hope that they do the right thing. And she was really equipping them with everything. The little couple of times I sat in her class.
Well, I've known Kathy, I don't know how many years, but I was just telling her right as the show was starting that I meet men and women who have been out of prison or they're coming back out again. But the number of lives that Miss Kathy has touched is pretty amazing here in Arkansas, because they'll always say, do you know Miss Kathy? I took some classes from her. I've been over to her house to eat. Right. And so, Kathy, you are leading Reentry for the Pulaski County Sheriff's Office in the Pulaski County Jail. You've got about 1,200 beds in that unit. And so can you describe a little bit about what y'all do? Because it's fairly unique for a jail to have the level of service that you provide. And I assume that you're wanting to build more of it in.
Yes. I work for Sheriff Higgins, and part of Sheriff Higgins' campaign promise was that he was going to start a reentry program at Pulaski County Jail, because through reentry and through helping people, that's how we help crime in our community and help the citizens of Pulaski County. So it's very beneficial, not just to the person impacted, but to the county. If you keep one person from breaking into a house to support a drug habit, you've impacted a whole group of other people. So Sheriff Higgins was very passionate about starting that, and so he has done it.
Now, how did you know the sheriff? Because you didn't work for the county before this.
No, I met the sheriff when you started Exodus 6 years ago.
I think it was 7 years ago.
Over at Arkansas Baptist College. And so I was playing bridge. You know how God taps on your shoulder with your mother-in-law. And she was talking about her brilliant son-in-law, Paul, and that he was starting a new school.
She's a bit biased. I like that, by the way.
She is, and she's worth
I'm not saying she's wrong.
Absolutely, she's not wrong.
There are many that would say she's wrong, but anyway.
But anyway, she was talking about the work you were doing, and I, through my own personal experience in life, just felt moved to do that. And so I said to her, I need to be involved with that. And can you connect me with Paul? And so she did. And you, sly fox, invited me down. It just happened to be graduation. So you invited me to graduation, and I was hooked. And then I was invited to, I was immediately seen as a church lady. And I'm not opposed to being thought of as a church lady, but you who know me know I'm not a church lady type, you know? And so they wanted me to teach.
I did 12 years in Catholic school. You could have been a nun type.
Yep, I could have. But anyway, that's what they wanted me to do. And so I said, let me just observe other classes. And one of the classes I sat in on was Eric Higgins' class, Getting Ahead While Getting Out. And I liked it. And I thought, I can do that. And that kind of suits me, because I had been a 10th grade English teacher. So that's what I started teaching. And my joke with him is, I'm sorry, but now I'm the best getting ahead teacher.
In fact, that getting ahead when getting out is a new adaptation, or it was 6-7 years ago,
Right.
from a pretty popular course. That group, the AHA group, is what they're called. They had a getting ahead in a Just Get By world.
Mm-hmm.
But Little Rock, Arkansas, at Arkansas Baptist College, was the very first place that it was ever taught.
Really? I don't think I knew that.
We beat a Australian group by 2 weeks.
Okay.
And so we were on their website for, I don't know, a time as they were moving that out. But I'd say you probably have to be one of the most experienced getting ahead when getting out teachers that they've had.
I don't know. I've taught it many times.
Thorough.
Yes, I'm thorough about it because I believe in it.
Yeah.
I'm passionate about it because I really want to help the people in the classroom. And I feel like when you put a curriculum together for a school, that you put together things for the whole person, and that is the part to help them that I'm supposed to do.
And so one of the things I think that people that typically tune in here and that we create this content for are the Alliance members. They're members of the 100 Families Alliance. They're in their communities and trying to collaborate on the way that we help the whole person. And so let's talk real briefly around this curriculum, because we partner with jails in every one of the communities that we're in. And so where would someone go to learn about this curriculum? Then I want to talk about the other things that you teach, because you built a whole kind of program. It's not just this one class.
Where would they go for this? They're welcome to call me if they would like to, and I will take them. If they want to come by the jail, I'll be happy to share.
It's called the Sheriff's Office?
Or they can call me personally.
Okay.
Whatever they want to do. And I will be happy. We don't own it. We have no ownership on it. We want everybody to be helped.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would be happy to walk them through anything that we do.
And the company that produces it is the AHA?
That's this one class, yes.
And then tell me about the other classes, because you were saying that you've built over 200 hours before someone will get out of jail and re-enter the community.
We do the Series 33, Authentic Manhood, some old stuff, that's very good.
That's a biblically based manhood curriculum.
Manhood group, and people need. We do parenting classes. We do some biblical things, but I don't require it. It's done in the afternoons in the units. We do some curriculum on morals. We do curriculum on doing the right thing, because people's idea about what's normal and my idea about what's normal are diametrically opposed sometimes when you introduce drug use. So we do just the whole person. We do effective communication. I'm trying to think of our whole curriculum. Just a plethora.
And what is that? Is that reading, writing, speaking, all of it, or?
Yep.
Yeah.
We do some job readiness, things like that.
Good. Well, where are you headed? You told me you just increased the size of your school.
Well, the sheriff has a big plan. He's much like you, visionaries. These visionaries that hire people like us to put it in effect.
Is it your antlers?
Yes, it could be my other antlers, but we're trying to create a program to help as many people as possible in the classroom as phase 1. Then we want to go to phase 2, which would be a job readiness, and then phase 3 would actually be, on the job, almost like a work release.
Right.
So he has a big plan, but we're still in phase 1. I keep telling him, whoa, back.
How many people can you have in phase 1 at any one time? What's your capacity?
Since we're just doubling, we can have 60. And then I've started 2 classes at night for trustees, because, we need them to run the jail during the day. So 60 in the actual academy that we call it, the CSI Academy. And then we have...
What's CSI stand for?
Community focused, safety driven, integrity based.
And that was the sheriff's promise. I remember him campaigning on that.
That's it.
Okay.
So we call it the CSI Academy.
All right. So you could put 60 through. How long does it take for them to get
12
through?
weeks.
So it takes them 12 weeks. And then
Half a day, 8 to 12 will one group of men of 20, 12 to 4, another group of men of 20, 8 to 12 women. The female male population in the jail, it's 8 times as many men as women. So that's why it's so much easier to run 2 sections of men.
Right. And 1,200 beds. You're the largest jail in the state of Arkansas.
That's correct.
Okay. And you taught some of the classes, Russell, while you were in there. What did you teach?
Series 33, anger management, like some job ready type stuff. We did mock interviews, just trying to get them ready for real life scenarios, stuff like that.
Living in balance.
Yeah, a lot of living in balance.
Living in balance. We do that too now.
I'm not familiar with that one.
It's a wonderful Hazelden
Okay.
literature
Yeah.
that is very helpful. And we've just purchased a bunch more literature.
Yeah, it has a lot in it. I think it has like 67, what do you call them, modules or sessions? It's a lot.
Okay. So, Kathy, how did you get into all of this? Have you always been in law enforcement?
No.
Retired
I
cop.
was an English teacher. And actually, when I filled out my application at Pulaski County Jail, when I went into Sergeant Walker for my background check, he said, well, this ain't going to take long. He said, you haven't had a job in 25 years? And I said, no. And he said, well, okay. Now, next thing. But anyway, no, I was an English teacher. And as life prepares us for things, I had 2 boys, and now I have 1 because I lost my son a year and a half ago to an opioid overdose. So my youngest son, Matthew, is the one I lost, and he started on Oxycontin pills at the age of 14. And as many prescription drug users did, it progressed to heroin as that became less available. And then as heroin became less available, switched to fentanyl. And as I talked to these are my anecdotal statistics, as I talk to the men and women in my units, once you've had fentanyl, you don't go back to heroin. So, and it's killing people, as you know, at a rate that we don't even want to approach, over 100 people a day. So
it was
anyway.
approaching auto accidents. This is pre-pandemic, but it was starting to approach auto accidents.
It's the number 1 cause of death for people under 50. Opioid overdoses, number 1.
And I believe it was accelerated
during the pandemic. Yes. But anyway, fast forward to me. I lost myself in my son's addiction. I completely, if he was having a good day, I was having a good day. If he was not, I was not. And about 8 years ago, I was miserable because I figured out I couldn't control him. Oh, my God, I'd been able to pretty well control most of the things in my life. But the Lord has a way of teaching you how little control you have. So I realized I could not save my son. And I didn't give up on him. But I pretty well turned it over to someone that could save him. And I sat down with my son at that point and I said, I've had a shift in my thinking here. And what I'm going to have to do is take care of myself for a while. And it doesn't mean I don't love you, but I can't breathe. And I've got to get a little bit of my life back, so that I can live, because I wasn't really living. And so at that point, that bridge game again came in. And so I started volunteering because I thought, teacher, I can do this. And, I couldn't help my own son. But what I'm trying to do is help someone else's son so that mothers don't have to go through what I've gone through. And I tell mothers that you need to step back, because I've told my son everything that I tell your son, but your son will listen to me because we don't have all that history with each other. My son, I was just his mother. I didn't know anything. You know how our kids think. So That's why I do what I do.
I've heard, Russell, many, many classes, I've heard Miss Kathy start with just that. Is, I'm here for your good. And then at graduation, you'd always say, I'm hoping that someone would help my son. I can't help my son, but I can help somebody else's son.
The reason I do what I do, at 6:30 this morning, I got a Facebook message from a kid named Eric who graduated from Exodus 4 years ago. And he said, I guess it's 3.5, anyway, it doesn't matter, some time ago. And he said, you're the first person I've told because I don't put things like this on Facebook. But Miss Kathy, my 4-year clean date is today, and I wanted you to be the first one to tell you. And it made my day. It made my day.
Yeah, numerous people have come to me and tell me about out of all the curriculum, they like her class the most.
They don't like me sometimes.
But they like her class.
Trust me.
Well,
trust and believe.
Yeah. Well, love, that's right. Love isn't always the same thing as like. Yeah, if you love someone. One of the most valuable things that we can have from time to time is someone that tell you in love, tell you the just gut level, the honest truth, unabashed. And yeah. So anyway, I've seen you do that several times.
Yes, sir.
Always in love.
Yeah. But I try to tender it with, I love you, but you need to hear this.
Uh-huh.
This is what I feel like you're doing and some other people, and we're concerned about you. And you need to hear this.
Yeah, because it's not a game.
No, it's not a game. And that's what I tell them. I'm tired of your apathy. I told my women's group this morning, I am tired of your apathy. This is your life. Step up. Mm-hmm. Do you want to die? I have 7 fentanyl addicts in my women's class and 9 fentanyl addicts in my men's class. I mean, they're going to need to step up and fight for their life because it's going to be a battle every day. And, I'm not going to fight for them.
So a couple of questions, I think, just in the equipping areas. One, we've got a whole host of classes that y'all are doing, and you've been teaching them for a number of years, 6-7 years, to a lot of people, and had many of the graduates over for dinner. And so they maintain this relationship after they've gotten out of jail or prison. And so people can contact you. We'll post we'll post how they can get in contact with you if they want to know more, if they want to run it in their jail. But number 2, I think for the family members who have a loved one who's in their addiction at this point, what resources did you find helpful that you could recommend to somebody else?
Well, I have to share a funny story. I didn't think I needed help. Might have been a little arrogant. Eye roll intended. But my son went to Hazelden, and I called about the second week to his counselor, and I said, how's he doing? He said, fine. I'm like,
yeah, I need some detail.
Yeah, I was wondering what classes he's taking and all. And he said, ma'am, have you thought about Al-Anon? And I thought, no. But he was so right, because I was all up in his life and I needed to be in my life and working on me, because what happens when you have a loved one in addiction is you become intertwined with their addiction. Mm-hmm. So their addiction is whatever, heroin, meth, whatever. But your addiction is them. So you have to work on your addiction of getting yourself extricated from them and work on you to be healthy and help them in a healthy way. And I believe you always have to love them through it. I don't believe, the idea of how to help a loved one has shifted in the last 15 years. It used to be tough love, cut them off, all of that. I really don't believe in that. And I've done that because all the literature I read told me to do that. Mm-hmm. And I was desperate, so I listened. But I don't believe that anymore. I believe you have to love them through it.
What does that look like?
It means if your son is using, take him out to dinner. If your son is using, send pizza to his house if you need to.
So you just maintain in contact.
You maintain contact. You maybe even talk to him, like my son was an IV user. Maybe you talk to him about Narcan. Does he know how to use it? Does he understand about not using it alone? Does he understand about clean needles? And those are hard conversations to have with your mother.
Yeah.
You know, because there's a lot of shame.
What if someone would say that you're encouraging use, or you're taking a position that you've advocated the moral high ground?
Yes. I just don't believe it. You know, they're going to use anyway.
Yeah.
They're addicted to it.
You got to help people like where they're at,
Where
or
they are.
love people where
they
they are. Because ultimately we're grown-ups and we're going to do what we want to do. We're going to make time for the things that we want to do. And that's what it is. So like what she's saying, you just got to love people like where they're at.
And then of course, everyone has a different bottom where they've made a decision to no longer try to remove themselves from using their
I
environment.
was told years ago in counseling that my son was a very low bottom person. That is not ideal for a drug addict's mother.
Had a high
to hear.
tolerance for chaos and pain.
Yep. Thrived on it, actually. You know, so, you know, you just have to sort of love them where they are. And sometimes you just have to, you know, I practice mentally putting him in a God box and putting him on the shelf and just saying, for today, I can't handle any more Matthew issues. I've reached Kathy capacity. So I would have to put him on a shelf. I would call it a God box, and I would put him up there. And maybe tomorrow I can handle it better, but for today, I can't. And that's that just for today. In Al-Anon, you work the steps just like people do in the other rooms. So I would recommend that. And then there's an online group that I've joined called Thrive Family Support. And I have found it very helpful.
Is it Facebook? Is it a portal? It's on Facebook.
Yep, Thrive.
And what is that again?
Thrive Family Support.
Thrive Family Support. Okay.
And it's very helpful. It talks about addiction centers, which ones are good, treatment centers, which ones are good, which ones are shams.
Is that Central Arkansas? Arkansas? Is it nationwide?
Nationwide.
It's a nationwide. Okay.
Nationwide. But it's good. I've never gotten any bad advice there that I know of.
Russell, any other resource for family members, loved ones?
The most steady and consistent one is Al-Anon.
And how would someone find an Al-Anon group?
Online.
You just Google it?
Yeah, they got them online.
Google Al-Anon and don't give up, because I had to go to 4 different Al-Anon meetings till I found one that I could really relate to. Don't give up.
Yeah,
you know.
I would say exhaustive resources of your church too, because until you just open up about it, when you keep it bottled in and not open up and tell people about what you're going through, like that works against you. But yeah, go to church, man. Open up to some people at church, because you might be sitting right next to somebody that's going through the same thing, you know.
That is so true, Russell, because I kept it a secret for many years. And why did I do that? I kept it a secret because I thought it was a moral failing on my part. I thought as a parent I had failed. And I had to really understand addiction. The first treatment center I sent my son to, I was elated because I thought he was going to go away for 28 days and come back, and it was going to be cured.
Fixed.
I really did.
Yeah.
That's how sad. But you have to remember, we've learned a lot about addiction in the last 20 years. And so, but man, that's just not true, you know. And I truly believe addiction is a disease. It is not a moral failing. So it has to be treated. And I tell the people in my class, why would you not treat a disease because you think you know better? I mean, why? If the doctor said to you, you're going to have to go into 24 sessions of chemo or this tumor will reoccur, you'd, by God, go to 24 sessions of chemo. But after going to AA for 2 weeks, you're cured because you're working hard and you can't make that meeting. I said, hello?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the way I talk to them.
That is an interesting kind of analogy is, I've got this tumor. I smoked and I have a tumor. It resulted in cancer. And now I'll just quit smoking or do better and think that it would take care of the problem that now occurs is not logical.
No.
And so, some of the healthiest people I'd seen, I know actually are in recovery, in active recovery. And I think, Russell, it goes to what you were saying is you've done a lot of really healthy work on yourself. You had to confront those things that just because of the misery, whatever that was for you, that brought you to join the group. But there's some really healthy tools that not only go on dealing with the drug or alcohol use.
Yeah. It's
but
like
it's a holistic.
Yeah. The first couple of months and going through the steps, it's not even about the drugs anymore. It forces you to dig deep to like real issues and figure it out.
Well, the 12 steps don't just talk about drugs and alcohol. It's a way to live your life.
Yeah.
I mean, it helps me be nicer to my friends. And none of my friends have alcohol. None of my old lady friends have alcohol and drug issues that I know of, that is, and would be appalled that I might say that. But it's just a blueprint for life, for a healthy life.
Right. So in closing, I think, to equip those that are listening, the Alliance members that are out there, you've been teaching some classes both in the Exodus Project, and then you are in the process of building out for the sheriff inside the Pulaski County Jail an academy that has a lot of really good classes in there. And so you're not just teaching people a class, you've actually put together a program. So it's a series of classes. They can contact you to find out what your curriculum is, where you get it from, how you teach it. You use a lot of volunteers.
All are volunteers, except I teach a class and I'm now paid. Not enough, of course, but
You're
I am
pro.
paid.
Miss Kathy's pro.
I wish. And the Sheriff Higgins teaches a class. I mean, as busy as he is, he makes sure he teaches a men and a women's class every time. So he's invested in it time-wise and money-wise.
And then for family members, Al-Anon and the Facebook group that you recommended. Thrive. Okay. Well, any parting shots, Miss Kathy? We sure do appreciate you coming and sharing with us.
The only thing I'd say is if you do have a loved one who's having trouble, talk to someone about it. Don't keep it a secret. There's no shame in it. It's a disease. If you had someone who had a skin cancer, you would talk to someone about it. So speak up.
That's good. Parting shots, Russell?
I'm just kind of nervous about this dinner tomorrow.
We have a big dinner tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Y'all are
Restore
eating
Hope
and didn't
dinner.
invite me?
What?
Y'all are eating and
I
didn't
had
invite
nothing
me?
to do with it.
I'm kidding.
We will have to rectify that obvious oversight. Well, thanks, everyone, for joining us. And we hope that, one, I just want to say thank you for what you do. We know the Alliance members. I know many of you personally, and I see the work that you're doing. And there's a proverb that we think about all the time as we talk about collaboration. It's if you want to go fast, you go alone. But if we want to go far, and I know that you do, then we've got to go together, and we've got to figure that out. So thanks, Miss Kathy, for coming and sharing some wisdom and part of your story with us. And we'll see you again next week.